recently The Independent put out a list ranking all the Marvel movies from worst to best, and I kind of wanted to do a video responding to it because they had, to say the least, some very questionable decisions, and that is putting it kindly. So let's kind of jump right in, and just, fair warning, there's going to be some minor spoilers because I'm going to be talking about the movie, but I'm not going to like spoil everything. But if spoilers are a big thing for you, this might not be the video for you. So let's just jump right in with they have Iron Man 2 at number 23, and their rationale for it being the worst Marvel movie is that it does too much world building too soon in the franchise because we get introduced to like Black Widow and Nick Fury, and like the Agents of Shield. This is a horrible opinion. This is just a horrible opinion. That it is so cool that we get Black Widow in this movie and Nick Fury. They're such great characters. Like they do a great job carrying off of what was built in the first Iron Man movie. This does not belong in the worst Marvel movie by far, and it's just the first of many bad takes of this list. Next, they have Thor: The Dark World, and while I would agree that this is the worst of the Thor movies, it is by no means the second to worst Marvel movie. In this movie, you have probably what you have so much given to you from the character of Loki. It is such a like a dynamic performance in this movie that like it that alone should jump it higher in the list. And they say that they like put effects above everything else in this movie, and like there's definitely some great effects in the movie, but it is should not be this low on the list. Like absolutely no. Next up, they have what I feel like is one of the better opinions on the list, that putting the Incredible Hulk so low. I would go as far to say that there are no Marvel movies that are bad. There are some that are worse than others, except for the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is objectively bad. It is so terrible, and I'm so happy that after this film, they got rid of Edward Norton. And like, no offense to like Edward Norton or anything, but just Mark Ruffalo is so good at being the Hulk. He should have been the Hulk from the beginning. I really think that they should give him his own Hulk movie now that he's been the character for so long. I think that would it needs to be done, especially after just the Incredible Hulk was just not good whatsoever. Next they have Avengers: Age of Ultron, and while I do agree that this is the worst of the Avengers movies, like of the movies where everybody kind of comes together, it shouldn't be this low. All the Avengers movies are so cool because you have everybody coming together. That's what makes the Avengers movie so well. Is you get to see the dynamics of Iron Man talking to Thor and talking Captain America dealing with the Hulk, and you get those like fun little interactions. And so this movie should not be this low. I get it. It definitely is the worst of the Avengers movies, but like given some of the other movies that are in the franchise, it does not deserve to be number 20. Next we have number 19, having Thor. This is close to criminal. This Thor is what it should be in the top 10. Honestly, this movie is hilarious. We are introduced to the character of Thor, and he is so funny in this movie. Seeing him interact with like the modern world, coming from Asgard, and so this movie is hilarious in so many ways. They say that it like relies too heavily on just like the fish out of water trope, being the fact that you do have Thor, who's this character kind of dealt into this new world, but it is so funny along the way that it makes up for the fact that it's a trope. This this is just a terrible decision. Doctor Strange, well, I definitely would put this towards the bottom tier of the Marvel movies. I would probably have it like just right above the Hulk as one of the worst Marvel movies. It should not be 18. Like, so they got it right by having it in the bottom tier of the movies, but it should be so much lower down. So it's just boring in my opinion. It was just a boring movie. It was just like they make a good point. It is kind of a repeat of what we had with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. Yeah, just not one of Marvel's best movies. Next, they have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie. This, I thought that this movie was hilarious. And this movie should go higher on the list purely because it had Baby Groot. Baby Groot is the cutest character ever created in entertainment history. Like Baby Yoda comes close, but I think that dance sequence with Baby Groot when he's dancing at the beginning, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. That alone should jump Guardians of the Galaxy number 2 higher on the list. So big problems with this being so low. Next we have the first Avengers movie. This is probably one of my personal favorites of the franchise, so I definitely don't think it should be number 16. I think that like it wouldn't be my number one, but it just always had kind of like a nostalgic kind of thing for me because it was so cool when you get to see these characters work together in a way before. Like the banter between like Iron Man and Captain America is so much fun to watch. They're just roasting each other the whole movie, and it is amazing to watch. All the characters are roasting each other, and that is so fun. And you have Loki as a bad guy. Loki makes for a great bad guy. This was an incredible movie. Should not be number 16. I'd put it in my top 5. Easy, easy. Maybe in my top 3. Next is just another horrible take, Captain America Civil War. This movie did so much. It was so much. One of the reasons why this movie was so good is because you had the heroes fighting each other. You had that, and you also had the heroes dealing with kind of the ramifications of their actions, because so often in superhero movies, you see them like crashing around and they're like destroying buildings, and like that really never gets talked about, like, hey, they just destroyed a building. In this movie, we actually get to talk about that. We get to talk about the fact that, yeah, actually, like, a lot of people died because of what you guys did. This was like a horrible thing. And so they deal with kind of the moral dilemma of that. And then what you get is you get the heroes essentially split into two, and you get a clash that is legendary. This whole movie is legendary because of this battle from within of the heroes, and introduction of Spider-Man. I mean, that alone should pump this movie up. Also Black Panther, two really cool characters. Pump the movie up a little bit. Ant-Man and the Wasp. This was a fine movie. It would definitely be in my bottom tier of the Marvel movies. Not that it's a bad movie or anything. I don't think it should really be this high on the list. Just me personally. Spider-Man Far From Home. This is a movie that I would probably agree with its ranking. It's right there in the middle. Great movie. The problem is all the movies sandwiched around it are wrong. But this actually, I would probably agree with this being placed where it is. Next, we have the first Ant-Man. Really felt like they didn't know quite what to do with the Ant-Mans. They just kind of put them in the middle of the list, and because they're really funny movies. They just like the other one, I would put this more towards the bottom of my list of favorite Marvel movies. Next, we have maybe the worst take of the list: Avengers Infinity War at number 11. This should be in the top 3. This should be the top 3, because this was the first movie where you saw, and obviously it became like a meme, they talked about it so much, where you saw a crossover of this scale, where you saw so many characters, something that they had built over so many years, and you saw it come to fruition in such a satisfying way. Well, not necessarily satisfying, because it does, spoiler alert, but it does end with a little bit of chaos, a little bit of a question mark. So such a good movie because of that. I'm a big, I like the movies that maybe end with maybe the bad guy a little bit ahead. I always like Empire Strikes Back, those kind of movies. So this was so good because of that. But just the scale that this movie worked on, just all these heroes in the same movie, should have put this movie higher on the list. I think it should be top 3. It might be the best one. Should be top 3 though. Next, they have Captain America. This might be a controversial opinion. I didn't think that the first Captain America movie was very good. I thought it was a little boring. I always thought that Captain America is a bit of a boring character. He's just a little too perfect. He doesn't have really any flaws. Most of the the things he deals with are more external, other than a character like Iron Man, who actually does have like this internal conflict going on, actually has some growth throughout the franchise. Captain America is pretty static as a character, and thus his introduction into the franchise was a little bit boring. This is just not my favorite movie. I definitely wouldn't put it at number 10, not even close to number 10. Next, we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. This movie is actually surprisingly good. I was not expecting this movie to be very good after watching the first Captain America, but it's actually really good. There's a lot of twists in it, and I love a movie with a good twist. This movie has a lot of twists, so that was fun. I wouldn't put it this high, but it is, it is better than you would expect. Next, we have Captain Marvel. No, this movie should not be in top 10. No, not even close. Captain Marvel, especially when you look, it was because they use in this list as kind of justification, is we get to see how Captain Marvel could deal with Thanos, but it ended up not really being that big of a deal that Captain Marvel was involved in the thing. She didn't really do much. At the beginning of Endgame, she isn't even there helping people, so that was a little frustrating to say the least. But I just don't think that it was a fine movie. Like I said, no Marvel movie is bad. It's not number 8. It just isn't number 8. Next, we have Spider-Man Homecoming. This was a good movie, really good. I maybe wouldn't put it this high if I was ranking it personally. It would probably still be in the top 10, but just this is a great movie. This is honestly just a matter of personal preference. Some people might like this movie a little bit more. Like I said, it would probably be in my top 10, but I don't know if it's number 7. Iron Man 3, Fantastic movie. Also, this is a movie I would put in my top 10. I don't know if I'd put it in number 6 on the list just because it is really good, but it isn't. I honestly might even put Iron Man 2 above Iron Man 3. I don't know how I feel about this choice. It wouldn't put it at number 6 for sure. Would not put it at number 6. Next, we have Avengers Endgame coming in at number 5, and it might seem weird that I would have a problem with it being at number 5, but I think it should be higher. It should be higher than number 5. It should be number 3 because just like Infinity Wars, what it operated with, the scale that it operated on, was so big. And they did something so. They hit the emotional aspect of this so well, like spoiler alert. But what they did with Iron Man leaving the franchise was so well done. I loved it. You had this gigantic character growth of Tony Stark going from this person who really just cares about himself and to obviously just within the first Iron Man, he has some growth where he cares about more than just himself, but he grows into where he is literally willing to sacrifice his life to save everybody else. That is such a powerful character development, especially for like, a superhero movie. A lot of people would think of them as being a little bit more shallow, but great character growth in that way. I mean, yeah, it's great. It was a fantastic movie in so many ways. I'd put it in my top 3. Should not be number 5. Thor Ragnarok. This is honestly kind of a fine placement. Definitely the best of the Thor movies. I mean, you have Thor, Hulk coming together. That's gonna make for a great movie. No, this is like kind of like Spider-Man and Iron Man 3. This is more of just a personal preference. I probably wouldn't put it as number 4, but it is a great movie, so can't be too mad at that. Iron Man 3, this is in a great, just because of what it accomplished. I mean, this belongs at number 3. Maybe my personal preference, I wouldn't put it at number 3, but I totally understand putting it at number 3 or even higher, just because of what it was able to do. They were able to take a superhero that really wasn't anything. It was just like, if you look at like the Iron Man from like the old like TV shows and stuff, it's literally just this like clunky robot thing, and they turned it into one of the coolest superheroes ever, and they launched this gigantic franchise that would go on to just become one of the biggest things ever, one of the biggest cinematic universes ever, if not the biggest. I'm not sure. No, so this movie obviously deserves its spot really high on the list. Next, we have Guardians of the Galaxy. This one really surprised me that they had it at number 2. It's a great movie. It is a fantastic movie. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Definitely would be in my top 10. Not number 2 though. I don't get number 2. It does accomplish kind of the same things as Iron Man, where it is you did take these characters who were basically kind of a joke. The old Guardians of the Galaxy comics were basically kind of a joke, and they turned it into like a really really cool, hilarious movie. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies are so funny, number 1 and 2. So I definitely do appreciate them giving Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit of love. I don't know if I'd put it at number 2, but like I love that it's getting a little credit. And number 1, we have Black Panther. I strongly disagree with this. Black Panther, great movie. In Black Panther, you have probably one of the best villains, just like probably in the Marvel universe. Killmonger was such a cool villain, like by far. Like you find yourself like weirdly like agreeing with some of the things he says throughout the movie, and so like that was, it's weird to find yourself agreeing with a villain, like obviously not completely, but he makes like some interesting points. And obviously Michael B. Jordan did a fantastic job of playing him. So this is a great movie. Don't like get this misconstrued, but it's not the best Marvel movie. Like, it's definitely not the best Marvel movie. There's so many movies that should go above it. It definitely accomplished a lot, and I do like, it's kind of with Guardians of the Galaxy, I respect it getting some love, but I would not put it as number 1. This movie was really good, and it should be probably in my top 10. It's a great movie, but I don't know. So anyway, I'm gonna have to do my own ranking now that I've criticized their list. But if you guys disagreed with anything I said in this video, make sure to leave a comment below. Just know that you are objectively wrong by disagreeing with me. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, yeah, make sure to leave a comment below if you disagreed with anything. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And have a great day.